you immediately wanted to go into culinary?
I loved cooking, right? But I wanted to follow my dad's footsteps, become an engineer. Unfortunately, I stopped growing when I was like 13 years old, so that dream was kind of out of the window.
So during your time on the island,
Yes.
in Mozambique,
Yes.
you had 2 epileptic fits, or?
Doctors telling me I've got stage 3 cancer. And then I kind of took it as like the flu. And then my mom was like, yeah, okay, let's kind of do that. Cancer is not a death sentence.
Right.
You can't get this kind of knowledge for free in Japan. I remember going into the kitchen and then they would just shut the door. We don't want you here. The one night I said, okay, if I can outdrink you on this whiskey tonight, you will show me the tricks of the trade within your kitchen. And they said, yes. And I was the last man standing. Then the next day, they said, come.
Hello my friends, and a very warm welcome back to another exciting episode of the Chef JKP podcast. Season 11 is on fire and I'm glad you are here tuning in. Now, how's everybody doing? What have you been up to? What's happening in your kitchens, in your restaurants and in your lives? Have you been challenging yourself or maybe just trying to chill? For me, I've been trying to do both. Now, before we get started, if you want to support the show, which I know you do, then please click that all-important subscribe button on YouTube or simply press follow wherever you get your podcasts, as it helps us to grow and we can keep giving you the best content possible. That's the only thing we will ever ask of you. Today's guest is someone who embodies creativity on a global scale. He's the Culinary Director of the Michelin-starred 99 Sushi Bar, a restaurant that seamlessly uses the finest Japanese ingredients and turns these flavors into something utterly spectacular. I'm talking about none other than Chef Thinus van der Westhuizen. This man isn't just cooking food, he's crafting experiences, pushing the boundaries of fusion and raising the bar of fine dining worldwide. Trust me, you're about to get inspired. Now, Chef is one of those people that once you meet him, you won't forget him. One of the things we also discuss is about how brain cancer has affected him, but equally, how he came out the other side. You're going to want to tune in, as this interview is not just about cooking, but also how to overcome adversity. Listen out for a story about selling coffee. Time to rock and roll.
Hey guys, this is Chef Thinus from 99 Sushi Bar, the Culinary Director. If you like the podcast, make sure to follow, share and subscribe. Give a like, share a link. Let's get and support this team.
Thinus, a very warm welcome to the show.
Thank you, man. Finally.
Finally, exactly. It's amazing to have you here.
Yeah,
now,
awesome.
as is customary, as you know, can you tell me your first or favorite childhood food memory?
So the childhood food memory that comes to mind as I was driving over here is, for us as South African kids, is everything on fire. And it's a very big thing to let the parent hand over the tongs and for the boy to actually cook the food. Because there comes a little handover tradition,
Right.
And it generally happens on hunting trips and these kind of things, right? So especially when it comes to culinary, when you shoot your first gazelle or things like that you generally either have to eat the liver or the heart raw, right? And then after that, it's a nice tradition, and then you can, the tongs, my boy. Yeah, wow. You can grill the chops, you can grill the steak, as the dad had told you until you were 12 years old, right? 12, 11-ish.
So how old were you when you started hunting, when your dad was taking you?
Oh man, we were doing pigeon guinea fowl hunting when we were 6, 7 years old already. There was always one parent who brought like an arsenal of guns, a trailer full. Okay. And he would be the one that would supply
right
the kids with the arsenal of whatever shotgun or .22 caliber or whatever.
Right.
And we were terrible at it. I remember the one morning we were probably shooting for about 2 hours on little guinea fowls, not shooting anything, not hitting anything. And then he just decided he had enough and took a shotgun and said, right, we need lunch.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, and then we were, come on, man, that's you kind of spoiled the party there, but it was a good. So yeah, hunting trips, grilling on the fire. You know, basically that's how we grow up as Afrikaner, South Africans as well. You know, that's what us and the Southern Hemisphere boys, the Australians and the Argentinians. That's kind of what we all share together, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think the other thing is that also there's that competition between a braai and a barbecue.
And a paella.
Yeah, yeah, and it's all of those, and
Yes.
you know, so but the South Africans, you know, they are really in with the fire.
It's integrated into us, you know, and there's also we cook something in a three-legged pot called a potjie, you know, where it can either be oxtail, can be venison, can be beer and venison, you know.
So for people who have never heard of that, what is it exactly, and how do you cook with it?
It's basically a big cast iron pot,
Right.
where you have a meat cooked very slowly, and then leveled in the pot, you know, colored the meat, give the stew, add the vegetables, but it's all like a layered thing, and then it's sit down there for about 3 hours, and there's only one
over
potjie
fire?
master over fire.
Uh-huh.
Over fire, and you have a feeding fire, and you have the fire for the potjie, and there's only one guy who's in charge of that potjie. There's nobody else touches it. He's the potjie master. You don't even touch the lid. You don't even open it. He's the master. You know? Yeah, and then it depends on where you are in South Africa. For us in the north, in Pretoria and Johannesburg, we have pap, which is like a bramata almost, you know. And we have that with a shima sauce, which is like a tomato and onion stew sauce, you know. And those are traditional, the two dishes that go together in the north.
Okay.
In the south, Cape Town area like that, they don't do the pap thing that much.
But then when it comes, so number one, it's low and slow,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, it takes the whole day.
Okay. Then when
Yeah.
it comes to the spicing of it, what would you traditionally use apart from salt or whatever?
A lot of red wine.
Right, right.
A lot of rosemary, thyme, bay leaf, you know, traditional spices. Every uncle has his own little spice that he doesn't have. That's the secret ingredient, you know. And then there was this lady in South Africa called Ina Parman. You can get her stuff here in Spinneys and Waitrose.
Right.
You get her stuff here as well. And then she kind of just killed every uncle's little secret, you know. And so it's basically just coriander, cumin, bay leaf, rosemary, you know, black pepper.
Right.
Like just regular, not spicy, just
Okay.
hearty, you know, ingredients to it.
Beautiful. So
Yeah.
then obviously cooking was in your blood at a very early age.
Yeah, I mean, so my dad was a mechanical engineer, and he left his company at a restraint of trade. Obviously, he had 3 kids, a wife, house that he had to pay for. And then he started a catering company. And then he said, listen, I've got 2 little sous chefs here on the couch not doing anything in the afternoon. They can help me peel the potato, take the onions.
So he
you know.
wasn't trained?
No, not
From
at all.
scratch? He...
No, not at all. There's something that we have that's almost like Boy Scouts called voortrekkers.
Right.
You know? And he used to cook on the camps for 300, 400 kids.
So he knew anyway.
Yeah.
How to cater.
Yeah, and
sort
he
of
loved it. He loved
Okay.
it. I mean, I have a joke with my mother. I said, you know, as all the kids were out of the school, she hung up an apron. And then my dad took the apron and then just started cooking
Wow.
from there. So, yeah, I mean, and then he said, you want to come with me when we do events? And there's something, we have a spit braai.
Right.
Again, low and slow. Lamb on a spit, maybe like 21 kilograms. You know, lightly salted before, and then it's just stand there for 3 or 4 hours.
Right.
As the event is going, you know.
Nice.
Yeah. And it was my job to baste it, you know.
What did you baste it with?
Oh, it was like almost like a sweet barbecue, you know, a little bit acidic sauce, maybe with some apple cider vinegar, you know, that kind of thing.
No, it
Very
sounds
umami.
amazing.
Yeah.
And that's over charcoal and
So
wood?
it can be over charcoal or on the fire,
Right.
Because it turns continuously,
Right.
Or you have this big steel container
Uh-huh.
that it is in with gas.
Right,
in the back.
okay.
Yeah, and then you drop your veg and your potatoes and everything underneath that.
So all the fat comes
All
down.
the fat drops in there,
Right.
and
Sounds
Yeah, man.
awesome.
yeah, and then that you carve up. Oh, you can probably do like 20 people, 20,
Okay.
30 people easily on one lamb.
So you were doing that basically on your days off from school?
Yeah, on weekends when we weren't playing rugby or
Right.
cricket or
Yeah.
squash or whatever we were doing, when Dad would put us in put us to work, and even buy me like there's a picture I was making chicken cordon bleu in the kitchen for my dad when I was like 13 years old with a little chef hat.
Nice.
And chef jacket, but the old checkered ones, you know.
Okay,
the
yeah.
old checkered jacket.
I know.
Old checkered
exactly.
blue checkered
What
pants.
color? Blue check. Okay, very
Yes,
good.
yes,
blue
yes,
checks.
yes, yeah.
But then, so after you were doing that, obviously it didn't feel like it was forced.
No, because I immediately felt, listen, there's a love for this. Because I found out at a very young age that music and food is kind of the center of a family, you know. And we built our kitchen was the main thing in the house, you know. That's where everything happened. That's where the family sit down after school. That's where we would cook. That's where we would have family meetings, and music in the background, you know. And that was every day was like that.
That sounds amazing, though.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. It was because my dad turned the kitchen into this catering kitchen,
Right.
you know, and that was where everything happened. We would sit down, he had bar chairs around, a very big open kitchen, and we would just, whatever you want to cook, you know, and dad would help us and mom would help us. And
So then, you know, during your time at school, it was all of the weekends you were doing, or was it during break times, or whenever the work came in?
Yeah, whenever the work came in. There was also a friend of my dad's had a box in Loftus Versfeld, which
Right.
is the Blue Bulls center field, rugby field.
Uh-huh.
So he had a box there, so we would do platters of chicken wings and obviously biltong,
Wow.
doorboars, those kind of things. And then as an excuse to go to the games, we would be the little chefs and the barman as well. You
Wow.
know? Yeah.
So how many people were you catering for?
At least 30, 40 in one box, you know. And almost, whenever we could, you know. Mostly in the winter times, you know, when the sport's a little bit less.
Sure.
And you don't have that many things that you have to do.
Yeah. But then throughout sort of school and college, you immediately wanted to go into culinary?
I know I loved cooking, right? But I wanted to follow my dad's footsteps, you know, become an engineer, you know, or maybe as every South African sports boy wants to become a Springbok, you know, become a big rugby guy. Unfortunately, I stopped growing when I was like 13 years old at 172, just completely stopped growing. So that dream was kind of out of the window. So I had to start looking for different opportunities.
Right.
Yeah. And then, but working in a kitchen, that wasn't really in the future for me. You know, I've never been in a kitchen. So I only worked on the front side.
Okay.
Yeah. But there was a turnover that came because a friend of my dad's opened a restaurant in Great Brack, which
Right.
is down in southwestern Cape,
Okay.
and a very good friend of his. And my dad asked me, "Do you want to go and work there on December, me and my brother, for some extra cash?"
Right.
And I said, "Listen, I already love cooking, you know. Why don't I go to the kitchen side?" And my brother went to the waiter side, or the runner. Or
Right.
whatever.
Front of house, basically.
Yeah. Obviously, you start at the base, at the bottom of the food
How
chain.
old were you?
I was about 15.
Right. Okay.
15 years old. Yeah. And yeah, we started there at the bottom of the barrel.
And how was the environment?
So the interesting,
I mean, 15 years old, first time in a professional kitchen.
yeah, I mean, this is 21 years ago, so it was still very old school. The kitchen had wooden floors,
Right.
which was a terrible thing to clean,
Nightmare.
and we had to clean daily. You know, obviously
Yeah.
there was it's not here like you get night stewards and porters that clean the kitchens. Nah, this is my boy. When you're done, when service is done, the chef owner goes, sits in the bar, has a beer, and we got to clean the stations, you know, especially the young boys, especially the commies, you know. And we had such interesting characters because it's a very small town, and obviously there's people, you know, back in the days, there's a lot of substance and these kind of things that people use.
Yes.
Because like we say, you know, back then every chef had an addiction.
Right.
Whether it be cigarettes or
Yeah.
alcohol or, you
Right.
know, the other things.
Uh-huh.
And they were quite interesting. The one guy, John, he went AWOL from the Irish Army. You know? No, complete mess. I remember, like, I just walked in the kitchen and he was looking at me slicing cucumber, just staring me. And I'm a little 15-year-old kid is so excited to walk in the kitchen, and this guy is death staring me, looking like not even. And I was like, wow, that's cool, man. That's
Okay.
cool. That guy's not even looking.
So you weren't even scared. You were just like,
Nah, yeah. I
Okay.
immediately. And, you know, the other guy was also, he was an ex-convict.
right.
just,
So it was just like a bunch of pirates.
just madness. And the chef owner used to own a pub. Very, very successful pub in the north. So now he's opened this restaurant, and it was very mixed cuisine. You know, it is, I would say, based French, traditional French, a little bit Western. But and then you would throw in like a pork belly with Asian spices, you know,
Right.
or pork rib, honey mustard, you know. But it was couscous salad, you know, just random things that he would love to cook. He would put that on the menu.
But you must have like learned a huge amount in that space.
So this is the funny thing about this John character, because I'll never forget him. He was like crazy. He was completely mental. He had his own. He was like a football hooligan. He had his own tattoo. He would make his own tattoos at home, with like a needle and ink.
Okay.
You know, this kind of, and but he could cook. It's amazing how that guy could operate. Right? I'll know the soups. Even something as basic as soup would blow you away. You know, or he would do this beautiful slow braised whole lamb neck, that takes overnight to braise, you know, in an old oven that didn't know electronics. It was a swing door oven like this,
right.
with a twisted timer, right? And then he would sleep there because the timer only goes to 2 hours or 3 hours. Then he would sleep there in his car, go in, switch on the timer again, and let the oven run. Yeah, so it's but he would, like, the owner, he was the sous chef, John. And the owner would buy him a scooter, you know, to make commute easier. And then John would disappear for 2 weeks.
Brilliant.
And come back with no scooter.
But he was still hired by the owner.
Yeah, because he was brilliant, you know, in the kitchen. And he could operate like no one's business. And he was probably, man, at that time, he was probably late 40s, early 50s, you know. But yeah, skinny guy. But I'll never, like, he had these red piercing eyes, you know. Just one of those old chefs.
Yeah.
They're like, this is what they do. They can't do anything else.
But they're amazing.
And they're amazing with doing it, yeah.
And how long did you stay at that place for?
So that was my first December, right? And then I went back the next December, because the thing with that kitchen was I could be who I want to be.
Okay.
You know, because we grew up kind of very conservative in South Africa. But there I could swear.
Right.
I could drink a beer, you know. That's 16 years old. You know, I can be who I want to be. I can express who I want to be.
Right.
So then I fell in love with the kitchen side.
Okay.
The operation side. The delinquency, you know.
Yeah.
But the brigade. You know, like you would disappear after service. We'll finish the tequila in the bar.
Yeah.
You know. And then the next day we'll come do it again, start 10 o'clock. Work until 12-1 the next day, you know, the morning, and then we'd do again.
But you were hooked.
I was hooked. I was gone. Yeah. No, I was, as soon as I finished my last exam at school, I said, goodbye, I'm going. No plan of studying, engineering dreams out the window.
Right.
I told my parents, this is what I want to do.
And your dad, your mum were cool?
Yeah, well, they just happy, like, okay, this guy's this is what he wants to do, so he's got a direction, and my dad could see,
right,
there's something there, you know. Yeah.
So then, did you go straight to college, as in like cooking college, or what happened?
So this is there was a guy called Franco Ferreira in South Africa. He was a very well-known name, especially in the Afrikaans community on TV, and he started a chef school in the same town.
Right.
And I found out about it, and I told the chef owner, Stefan was his name, I told him, so if you pay the deposit for the chef school, right, then I'll go to chef school in the mornings until 4 in the afternoon, then I'll take my scooter and I'll come work in your restaurant till the night.
Nice.
And then I would do it again.
Wow.
And then I would do my practical with you, you know. And this is without even telling my dad. This is just between me and him. So he said, yeah, that sounds the answer. I mean, I'm getting a classically trained chef and he's putting everything into my restaurant. You know, why not? And yeah, that's what we did, man. I would go 7 o'clock in the morning, take my scooter, go to chef school, until 4, finish that, go to the kitchen, get there about 5:30, do dinner service. Because by that time, I was kind of senior in the kitchen, even though I was only 18 years old. Because I've been there for 3 years, I know. So you start in the salad section, then you move to the garde manger, then you move to the saucier station, and then finally you're on the pass, because the chef owner is always on the grill. And the pass, and I'll never forget, it was like a dance, that pass. Because we were serving 124 people, and we only 3-4 chefs.
So tell me about the ticketing system then. All hand?
I mean, it was the start of the KOT.
Right, okay.
You know that sound that you hear,
Yes, yeah.
People wake up in cold sweats sometimes. And it was that. And there was one time where we said, order up, and everything came at once to the pass, and everybody was gone, and the restaurant manager was just standing there like, this is amazing. Like, nobody talked to each other, but everybody knew the movements that you had to do to get within that small space of a kitchen.
So how many seats did this place have?
124.
124?
Yeah, we do 124, 130 for dinner.
And you turn the tables, or?
Yeah, for lunch especially, yes. So we do double for lunch on the Sunday lunch. And then the owner would close 4 o'clock on a Sunday. And then, right, barbecue, beers.
Carnage.
Let's go. Yeah. Monday restaurants closed. Yeah. And then we'll just do it again. But yeah, that was the base of my kitchen life, and I was the chefs and the pastry chef was flirting with every waiter in the kitchen, because he was in there was a little corridor, and
right.
You talk about we had these kitchen stories as well, like when you go like that and you look at it and then somebody has to punch you.
Yes.
So we kept on finding like more and more creative ways to catch the other chefs in the kitchen. Like, you'll stand there in the walk-in chiller on the racks, one foot on this side, one foot on this side, waiting for the other chef to open the door just so you can punch him on the shoulder. Whatever you could do, or you'll stand in the dry store for at least half an hour, everybody looking for you, and then meanwhile you're standing there just waiting for one guy that you have to get back afterwards just to give him a punch on the shoulder, man. And this became bigger and bigger and bigger. After a while, the chef owner said, "Listen, we got to stop this.
Yeah, okay.
It's getting out of hand. Like, people are waiting in the ceilings,
But how long were you there for in total then?
So in total, I was there first year of the chef school, and then so from 15, 16, 17, 18, then I joined the chef school when I was 19.
Wow, so you'd already had 4 years experience.
I already had 4 years, yeah.
Under your belt.
Yeah, where I started as like salads, and then, and yeah. And then I got poached by the chef. She was number 4 in South Africa at that time, Vani Padiachi. Indian chef from Durban. Awesome chef. And we had a function at the chef school. And I was, obviously, we were doing waiter service at the chef school and cooking, obviously. And then I started talking to her, and then she said, "Would you like to come work for me in Plettenberg Bay? We're opening a restaurant called Fushi." And we got top 5 in South Africa at that restaurant. And that's where my love for Japanese food started. Because it was a Japanese fusion. Back then everything was fusion. In the 2000s to 2010, everything was fusion, back then.
But was it quite different? I mean, obviously you had this experience in this incredible restaurant pub for those 4 years, to then have a change of direction into Japanese, and was Japanese a sort of fad back in South Africa, or was it new?
Yeah, it was new. I mean, Asian fusion was kind of starting to make the come up in South African cuisine. Right. And I never knew anything about it, so I went to the owner of the restaurant that paid for my deposit. By the way, my dad still didn't know anything about this for 6 months. Then he got a check or invoice in the mail saying, "Listen, can you please pay your kid's chef school?" I'm like, "Oh, what chef school?" He goes, "No, he's been going to chef school for 6 months now. Can you please pay the fees?" And then he paid it heavily because he's like, "Oh, thank goodness."
Okay. So at least he knew you were qualified and your head was in the game.
Yes. And then I started working in this massive 250-seater Asian fusion restaurant in Plettenberg Bay, which is a very rich, small coastal town in South Africa. Yeah.
So And this and the type of food, Japanese or
Yeah,
fully...
mostly Japanese. You know, teriyaki. Even there was a full-on sushi kitchen with 2 Japanese chefs.
And which kitchen did they place you first?
So first they placed me with the guy called Dalvin, who was the sous chef. Again, 50, 60 years old. He had arthritis in his hands. Pans would drop, but he would work.
Right.
So they put me with him first. And then, he would call stocktake while we partying on a Saturday night. He'll go, listen, tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock is stocktake.
What a legend.
Then we had to carry from the -60 freezer in 400 kilos of salmon for counting, 400 kilos of tuna for counting. And he would love it. He's like, it's the best hangover cure, Just count stock in a deep freezer for 3 hours. I can't think of
anything worse. Also, -60.
Yeah. It was hard as a rock.
Right.
Yes, yeah. And man, and the owner of that restaurant had budget for days. I've never seen anything like it, He had literally flown in 2 Japanese chefs to work in that kitchen. And I slowly tried to make my way there because, this is, you can't get this kind of knowledge for free in Japan. Like, it takes a lot to get that kind of training for free. And it took a while for me to, I remember going into the kitchen and then they would just shut the door. So we don't want you here. Yeah, this is our domain.
That must have been a bit tough.
That was a bit tough, but I kind of got to them through whiskey because the Japanese love whiskey.
Very good.
Yes, yeah. And then the one night I said, okay, if I can outdrink you on this whiskey tonight, you will show me the tricks of the trade within your kitchen. And they said yes, and I was the last man standing. And then the next day, they said, come, let me show you what we do. And that was the kind of where the buck kind of bit, within Japanese cuisine, and mostly the respect for the product.
Okay.
That they have.
Because the culture is very different in Japan.
Oh yeah.
Especially when it comes to the produce, the products, handling the equipment, the knives, the respect, putting the knives to bed.
Yes.
All of that.
It's very different from where I came from, that little town, Great Brack, with the ex-military guys, fighting in the kitchen. I still remember the one chef de partie was fighting with the sous chef, and they were literally fist fighting in the kitchen I think it was a girl, over a girl, either one of the waitresses. I can't really remember that well. I just know there was a big fight
during service.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well, in between lunch, in between
prep,
dinner, during prep. Yeah. And I remember because that oven, when you open the one side of the oven, both sides open. So you would hold him open like this, open, and then hit him on the head with the oven.
Incredible.
Beautiful, beautiful kitchen. And then I go from that to Japanese respect. This is how you cut. This is how you treat the fish. Polar opposites.
And how long did you stay in that
so
particular restaurant?
That was like a stage. I was there for six months.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then afterwards?
Afterwards, I wanted to leave that town so badly.
Why?
Drugs.
Okay.
Party,
So it was just a crazy place.
Yeah, it was just a crazy town, and I said, this is not, if I continue down this road, I'm not going to leave this town ever.
Sure.
Yeah. So, and then I moved back to Pretoria completely. I left the restaurant down in the Cape.
And then what position did you go for, or what did you decide
so
to do?
This is the funny story is, so then I started another year at another chef school who was the conglomerate with the one in the Cape, right? So I finished my year there, or 6 months practice, and then I said, okay. So then the owner of the restaurant in the Cape's brother had a restaurant in Dalstroom, which is a very, very small town in Mpumalanga in South Africa. And he said, I need a chef de cuisine. Now me, 21 odd years old, I said, okay, I'll take a chef de cuisine job.
And you'd never been a manager
in
your life?
I've never been a manager. I've only been in those 2 kitchens, I haven't taken any job responsibility before. And he said, come, be my chef de cuisine.
Okay, so I just want to understand, what was the dream? How many seats, type of cuisine before you sort of took the job, and you knew what was going on?
So this was kind of my mind and culinary knowledge was still instilled from that little Cape restaurant, but now I knew how to mix certain flavors together, right?
Okay.
That you can introduce Asian food into Western food and
Right.
see and kind of work it out, or even just whatever comes to mind, experiment, taste, see if it works. I remember I tried a lavender poached hake. Terrible.
I was going to say
Terrible.
soapy. Was it?
Yeah, very, very soapy. But I mean,
But you try. No, you
trial
have to
and error.
learn. You have to learn.
Trial and
You have to
error.
learn.
And
You have to
that's
learn.
where, there was always a time I said, you find out about basil and then everything's got basil in
Yeah.
it for about 3 months, Or I found about this miracle called dukkha spice, and then I put dukkha spice in everything, on chips, on lamb racks, on, 'Cause you get infatuated with the ingredients.
Of course.
Yeah.
But then when you started this job, how many were in the kitchen?
So in the kitchen, the thing was in the kitchen then, the restaurant's already been running. It's not like we started from scratch, right?
Okay.
So
So there was already a brigade in there.
yes, brigade is calling it,
Okay.
let's just say 10 ladies in the kitchen cooking.
Right.
Right, yeah. They can't speak English that well, so you have to learn Xhosa, which is one of the South African languages, just to communicate with them a bit. And those ladies worked. Like Dalstrom went from, say, during the week there's about 2,000 people staying there, and then during the weekend 20,000 people rock up. People would eat in the rain, just so to have a table to eat food, because that town is that busy, and it's a big biker town.
Right.
And, I was it was crazy to see. So we would do regular burgers, sandwiches, nothing special, just for the regulars. And then on weekend nights, I had my menu, so I would do like a little tasting menu. The he's a Greek guy, he thinks he's Greek. He's only lived in Mykonos for a few months, few years.
But of course he's Greek.
But he's Greek,
Yeah.
He even looks Greek. He's got the earring,
Okay.
the chain,
Very good.
Yeah. And then, so we would taste food during the week, and then I say, put that on the menu, And then, we would do like steak with camembert cheese, figs.
Right.
These kind of red wine jus was big back, in that time. So we would do like these kind of weird combinations of dishes, man. That I would never do now, because now it's all about the simplicity of product. But back then it's like, man, whatever you want to chuck it together.
But what did that kitchen teach you the most about management?
Numbers and arranging numbers and systems, because you had to. We were forced into it. We're making 130 burgers a service, with 4 or 5 people in the kitchen, So quick numbers like that, and time management and cleanliness, those kind of things were instilled. It wasn't taught. It was kind of like, this is what we have to do.
Right.
So it was either adapt or die for me. I had to, as a 21-year-old chef de cuisine, try to make a name for myself while serving all these people during weekends. And selling 100 burgers takes a bit out of your soul every now and again, eh? Like, if you really want to cook the dishes that you do on a tasting menu, but you have to get through the club sandwiches and the burgers and the grilled cheese and cooking for kids and these kind of things. But you had to earn your stripes,
But then after that job, did you? Because I want to understand, how did you go from that? To then make the transition to go to the Middle East?
So from there we opened a coffee roastery called Beans About Coffee. The owner, this Thomas, who was Stefan's brother, the guy who believes he's Greek,
right?
And he's gonna laugh as he sees this, man. And he was so crazy about coffee. So back then, opening a coffee roaster in a restaurant is never heard of. I think back then there were only 3 places in South Africa that were doing it, So we put a roaster in there. We started developing our own brand, and then by then my kitchen was running, so I would help him with the coffee. And then I got poached for coffee to move to another town called Witbank, right, which is also another small town. So I kind of moved around all South Africa, Witbank, and there I was the F&B manager of a golf course, right, but more focused on coffee sales, and we would just wing it, man. Like I'll tell a guy at a restaurant, listen, man, if you buy my coffee, I'll service your machines, right?
But you didn't know anything.
I know nothing about coffee machines. Nothing at all. So, and the guy called my bluff one day. And he said, listen, man, I've got a problem with my my braais machine. Can you come pick it up? Yeah, sure. We'll take it to the workshop. We'll have a look at it and I'll see what... We don't have a workshop. We had a table next to a wall. And then we're fully immersed in coffee. So I was doing coffee for about 2 years. And then the owner of the restaurant saw me change. Right, I was starting getting not motivated.
Right, okay.
And then she asked me, she said, do you miss the kitchen? And I just bawled. Like complete tears, sack across from her, just
right.
going mental, And then I was at that time, I was trying to do, and it's funny how things work out. I was on the third interview for pastry chef at Galeries Lafayette. At that time, which is strange because I didn't take it, but it didn't happen. But I finally moved here, which is very funny. Then she said, okay, go on holiday. And, okay, I said, all right, let me take a break, come back. And then she said, tell me what you want to do after that and we can have a chat. I found out through a mate of mine, he was with me at chef school. They hotel in Mozambique on Bazaruto Island approached him, said, do you want to be the executive? They need an executive sous chef. So he said, I don't want to take it, I want to go work on the yachts, but take this guy's number and link up with him and see if he would be interested. So I was on holiday in Pietermaritzburg at my parents' house, got a call, said, listen, you want to set up an interview? The executive chef was on holiday in South Africa. He said, come, I had an interview with him. He called me a week later and said, listen, man, you got the job in Mozambique. So I said, all right, well, now I need to call the owner in Witbank and tell him, listen, I'm not gonna be here anymore. I have to go, And there were plans for the coffee roastery. We were going to open a branch in the mall, big plans. And I just said...
But it wasn't
It wasn't me.
Right.
I could like that heart wasn't in there, And after visa, everything, 1 month later, I was on my way to an island in Mozambique.
And was it a resort?
Yeah, it was a resort. It was Indigo Bay Resorts back then, which was, and the staff it was more about having fun on the island. Like the fish we need for the day, we'd go out on the boat and make a deal with the GM. Like, if you pay the petrol, we'll bring the fish, and if we don't bring the fish, we'll pay the petrol for the boat.
Right.
But so we stayed out long enough to make sure we have enough fish to come back and cook, And that's why I found out about Mozambique and piri and African spices and using coconut, and they have cassava leaf. It's big in Mozambique, They have this coconut, peanut and cassava stew with grilled prawns, the big Mozambique river prawns.
Yeah.
And then you see all those kind of flavors coming together, And then Anantara took over the restaurant, the hotel. And that was my first, as a little South African boy, now I'm 22, 23, executive sous chef of Indigo Bay Resort. And then Anantara comes and said, listen, they've got to get rid of all the HODs, right? And they sent a task force chef called Astash Edukani, who was the executive chef of Eastern Mangroves at that time. And he was there for 7 days. And he said, you can't fire this guy. I was the link, because by that time I could speak like a broken Portuguese. Because the islanders, they don't speak any English. Forget about it. They come to kitchen and flip-flops,
Right.
Yeah, and there's no aircon in the kitchen, and it's Africa, very, very deep Africa. So these guys don't... They said, if you fire this guy, you'll lose all the chef cuisines. Nobody will come and work here, because that link between the chef internationals, Anantara task force chefs, and the islander chefs. You're never gonna get that link. It's not gonna work.
So what happened after those 7 days? I mean, you stayed in the resort, or he asked you to come to Abu Dhabi?
So he left after 7 days, and he sent in the report, obviously, to our corporate. Then they sent another chef called Matthias Mittnach, German chef. He was probably that's why I learned systems even more, because the German chefs, how they operate. But he was like the coolest, most chilled out chef, very talented chef, right? That I got the little taste from, like, fine dining techniques and how you plate, baby veg, these kind of things. He brought it in from other countries, how you can use that. But the most impressive thing for me was how he could just flow through the kitchen without stress. And up until that time, I was very, not Gordon Ramsay-ish, but, we grew up in those old kitchens where people shouted at each other and swear and throw pans and plates and, and then this chill German guy comes here, and I'll never forget, I was on the pass, shouting at the kitchen staff, going crazy, like, where's the meat, I need to fill it now, how it goes. And then he goes, no, just stand aside, let me show you something. And he doesn't even call it out, he just reads the dockets to the kitchen, and all of a sudden the whole kitchen says, yes chef, together. And I go, wait, something, right? And he gives it back to me. He said, see, you don't have to shout. They will respect you more, they will give you more if you respect them more. And then I flipped completely.
What an amazing lesson.
I flipped completely then. Yeah, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Yeah. And I owe him a lot. Yeah.
So how long did you stay there for?
So I was on the island. I was there. I was on holiday, and then I got 2 epileptical attacks. Right. Then I found out I had brain cancer. Right, and the tumor was in a stage 3. So then I was 8 months away. I was on the island for about 3 years. Right. And they still paid my salary, or the GM of that Anatara resort still paid my salary every month when I was in South Africa doing treatments and all of that. And when I came back, I said, thank you, man. He said, no, don't need to say thank you. It was the right thing to do.
So hold on. So during your time on the island,
yes,
in Mozambique,
yes,
you had 2 epileptic
fits. I was on
or...
holiday in South Africa.
Right.
After one night at a party, I was on the lying on the bed taking a nap. And then I had a fit, and then I had another fit 2 days later, and I thought, okay, something is not right, Then we went to the doctor, and then we went to the specialist. We did the whole CAT scan, MRI, and then they found out, it was about the size of a golf ball.
In your brain?
Yeah, on the right temporal, yeah.
So then, I mean, how scary was that for you? Did you think about it back then, or was it just a case of, like, crack on, find a solution?
Well, at that time, I was, in a kitchen, you kind of learn how to adapt and take things on the fly.
Right.
And I kind of took that. I use what I know in the kitchen, because it's kind of all I know. I use in my personal life, how to deal with things.
Yeah.
And I remember my mom was sitting next to me and just looking at me while the doctor's telling me I've got stage 3 cancer. And then on that split second, how I was going to act would depend on how my whole family would react.
Okay.
And then I kind of took it as, okay, cool. I joke, I say, I kind of took it as like the flu, just tell me what I do, give me my medicine, let's do the operation, and then we get past it, and then we move on from there. And then my mom was like, yeah, okay, let's kind of do that. Cancer is not a death sentence.
Yeah.
So we can move on from that, yeah.
But it was quite brave of you to sort of put it in that way, because some people would have collapsed under the pressure and thought worst case scenario. But it's quite mature of you to sort of go, okay, we're just going to crack on, get it done. Tell me what I need to do. Yes. Like a soldier. Yeah. And we'll get the job done.
Yeah. I mean, there's also, when we grow up in South Africa, like this Voortrekker, the Boy Scouts thing, there's a camp that we say is called the Keer camp, which is like a camp that you have to go, like a survival camp. We always say it's the best thing I've ever done in my life that I never ever want to do again. Where they leave you in the bush for what 5 to 10 days then you have to like forage for food, live from nature,
Right.
and you kind of walk almost 40 clicks, a lot. It's like basic training. In South Africa it's kind of harsh. We lose about 8 kilogram in the 2 weeks that you are there. Like they give us hot dogs after the camp and you can't even eat the hot dog because the bread is too harsh and the tomato sauce burns your palate.
Yes.
Right. And but you learn to know yourself and what you can achieve, right? And they teach you how to dissect frogs, what part of a snake you can eat, what fruits are good, what fruits are bad, what mushrooms are good, what mushrooms are bad. We would eat, you walk in the field and you eat crickets like popcorn snacks, and these are throughout, like as I was growing up, there were tests, and then kind of what your barriers are and what you can overcome. So at that moment, it all kind of came together, and then I just said, okay, let's get this done.
So 8 months of chemo,
radiation. I had it was a 9-hour operation, right? And then after that, I could not use this arm because obviously, when they open the bonnet and they work on the engine.
Yes, of course.
There's some parts that you have to relearn,
Right.
reteach, So that was full on rehab, how to, this part of my face, how to start speaking properly again, how to work with your hand properly again, and that was 8 months. And then when I came back to Anantara Bazarutu, the GM said, where do you want to go? Tell me, where do you want to go? So there were a few, back then, Kasar Al Sarab, Anantara was the flagship of Anantara Hotel. They were on all the posters. They just opened, in 2014. So it was this was the pinnacle of Anantara Hotel. Then I said, I want to go there. So he said, I don't know if they're going to let you in because, you don't have that much experience. You have on this island as an executive sous chef, but it's your first one. And it's on a little island, the 44 villa. Now you want to go to Kasar Al Zarab, So he said, just give me any position, right? I just want to put my foot in the door.
Mm-hmm.
And then I took a Chef Thinus position. So I dropped like 3 tiers just to get here. Yeah. And it was scary. It was scary to come here because there's a lot of misconceptions in South Africa about the Middle East and about Abu Dhabi and Dubai, especially back then, So when I got here, I was like,
But it's far. Kasar Al Sarab.
Oh, yeah.
Is far. So
Yes.
for anyone who's never been there before, I mean, you have Dubai. From
Yeah.
Dubai to Abu Dhabi, it's an hour.
Yes.
From Abu Dhabi
2.5
to Kasar Al
hours.
Sarab.
2.5 hours,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went from small towns, from by the sea, small towns inland, moved to an island, which has also destroyed all islands for me, by the way. Like, if you live on an island for 3 years, the longest stint I was doing was 7 months on that island. And then you start going a little bit cuckoo, eh?
Right.
You get island fever. You can check, they call it island fever because you can check the chefs or the staff. They literally get very quiet and start to drink a lot more because there was a staff bar, Then they will go, the HR will go, okay, this guy needs to go for an R&R. So I went from that, then I went to Kasar Al Sarab. And I loved it. I was there for 3 years, but the most awesome part was, you're in the middle of the desert, but I could take a 2-man tent, a sleeping bag. I would get those little mobile grills, because there's no wood in the desert. And good luck finding good firewood. And then I would take a frozen steak, and then I would just walk into the desert. Obviously by then we knew first wave, second wave, third wave of the dunes. And then I would send the coordinates to the activities guys so they know where I am. And they would just sit there underneath the stars. And that was like my saving grace there, because if you're there secluded and you work.
And you're away from your family.
Yes, you're away from your family. You don't know anybody here. Like
The culture is different.
Culture is different. And it was very interesting to me, the mixed pot of cultures and races in this country and how everybody works together and respects each other. That's another thing for as a South African, because obviously we come from a country where there's a lot of divide and everybody is together, but there's a lot of healing. And so to come into a country like this and see all of this, you kind of go, why can't we just get along in South Africa? Why can't we just fix that? Look what we're doing here. And it was awesome to see, like there's 1,600 staff and everybody's,
and a serious operation, constant pressure, coming from externally, internally, all of that kind of stuff. Plus
last minute big events. We had big weddings. I think we did a Nani wedding as well, which was like 4,000 people all together at one wedding. Crazy experiences we had that.
But after that, obviously, you went from that incredible time.
Yes.
And did you want to go back into resorts, or you wanted to do something different into restaurants?
So, but then the executive sous chef of that hotel, Marcus, he had a friend, Alan Todd, who opened Hunters in the Western Minasayai. I still regard him as probably one of the chefs with the best palate I've ever seen. He used to work in aubergine as well, but the aubergine in South Africa. This is the first time I saw a guy siphoning a jus through a pipe, done the old school way. And I met him, very grumpy guy. Like if you meet Alan, he's not a friendly guy, And I met him, and they said, listen, I need to get out of the sand. I need to get out of small places. I need to get a bit of city life in me. And then I transferred to the Westin at Minasayai, where I was in the main kitchen. First main kitchen sous chef. Because I opened at the Anantara, there's a restaurant called Gadir, and me and Julia, she's now the F&B director at Anantara downtown. We opened this Mediterranean restaurant together. And then I said, okay, the restaurant's open now. Can I get chef de cuisine, please? That was the deal with the GM. And then it just never happened. So then I took a sous chef here at the Westin in Dubai. Yeah.
But then I want to understand how it came about then for you to get the job at 99 Sushi.
Yeah, so that's where we're getting at, right? So when I started at the Westin, I'd like to say we were like 5 cowboys, but we were probably the best team ever to work at that hotel, and I say that very proudly. And people can come and challenge me as much as they want, but there was 5 chefs who were very talented chefs, and we all understood what needs to be done and what operation needs to be done. So, and the chef, we still all of us are still friends. That's the beauty about Dubai and Abu Dhabi as well, is the network of people that you get to know here in the industry. And if you work with them and they're like-minded people, you'll be mates for years and years and years. And then so one of the guys, Ruben Guerrero, who was previously our director of culinary at 99, he was the chef de cuisine in Abu Dhabi, and he was supposed to do the opening in Dubai for the 99, which is at the address out downtown. And they said, listen, man, do you wanna come be the chef de cuisine in Abu Dhabi? And I said, yeah, sure, why not? So I came for the interview. Jaime was like, so what Japanese knowledge do you have? I said, well, I worked under Japanese chefs when I was 19, and after that was kind of it. I knew what I knew. Never been to Japan. I only knew what I know from videos, books that I've tried, and obviously that respect of products and what you can do with it, and the base of Japanese sushi,
right,
from those 2 chefs, and that's what I know. But I told them, listen, if you want somebody that can have good scores on guests, have good food costs, have organized operation within your kitchen, I can do that for you. And then the Japanese terminology, all of that I can learn within 3 months. And then he took a chance, because the owners came like a week after, and it was back then, why are you not hiring a Spanish chef de cuisine? Because 99 came from Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Who's this South African guy? And then Remy had to explain, and I'm still very thankful for him because he had to explain, oh no, wait, this guy comes from here, he's actually done this project and that project and that project. So, he comes with a little bit of a
pedigree.
Right. Yeah. And then they said, all right. And then the weird thing was COVID for the restaurants in Abu Dhabi was actually almost like a blessing in disguise because there was that lockdown.
Yes.
So nobody could go anywhere in Abu Dhabi. Nobody could fly anywhere. So all the guests, all our regulars were built in that COVID time, And that was, the restaurant was doing okay before, but after that lockdown time, and the restaurant stayed open because everybody just decided to cut their salaries in half, and not even just basic.
So that was 2020, right?
That was 20, yeah. And I joined March 2020. I joined 99. 26 days later on my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Yeah.
Wow.
Lockdown, yeah.
But then, Thinus, if I fast forward to the inaugural Michelin Guide,
yes,
Abu Dhabi 2023,
yeah,
you and the team receive the coveted Michelin-star.
Yeah. Before we get, I'll take you to when we received the email, because remember 1 year before that it opened in Dubai, Michelin.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And everyone was like, "Whoa, Michelin's here! It has arrived now." Like Dubai culinary scene is getting serious, right? And then straight after that, Goat Mio also opened.
That's right, and 50 Best.
And 50 Best. So it's like, okay, we are in the world spotlight now, and nobody ever thought it will come to Abu Dhabi. Maybe in 4 or 5 years it will come, but not the next year.
Mm-hmm.
So we got the email from Michelin asking questionnaires about the chef's bio, jacket sizes, all these things. And I thought it's spam. I said, listen, can we just...
This is a fraud.
Yeah, please, I don't trust this email at all.
Someone's trying to stitch us up.
Someone is trying to make a practical joke here. And then we got, oh no, it's valid, And we thought, okay, we'll go there. Because obviously you just do what you do at a restaurant, right? You cook what you cook, you do what you love, you bring your personality on a plate together with the Spanish identity and what we know from Japanese haute cuisine. And that's, and with the service is the same. And then we were sitting there and they say the selected restaurants. And I look at Ruben looks at me.
But I have to say, before that happened, obviously you get the email.
Yeah.
You find out it's not a spam.
No.
It's the real deal.
It's the real deal.
It's Michelin.
Yes.
Right? And you'd not sort of previously gone through that sort of school of Michelin chefs, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But, you were there.
Yes.
At any point, did you think, okay, we're going to be included, or it's just going to be nice to be there?
That's what we thought. That's what we thought. We thought, okay. So, yeah, we thought, they said now for the selected restaurants, or we thought maybe we'll get like a special green.
Right.
Sure. One of the. And then that passed. And then the selected restaurants passed. And then that's what I said. I looked at Ruben and Ruben looked at me. I looked at Jaime. Jaime looks at me. We go, no.
So you had no clue?
No clue whatsoever. And we go, again, getting goosebumps fully, because there was that moment from, oh damn,
So they mentioned 99 Sushi.
Yeah, and then I completely blacked out. It was like I say, it was like winning the world championships,
right.
kind of feeling, There's so much emotion, elation, I can't explain at all. I mean, you'll see the Michelin guys, they laugh because they saw our reaction that one when we shouted, going completely crazy.
Yeah.
And we walked. I can't even remember what I said on stage. It was all just like a blur, but yeah.
But I mean, I can imagine, obviously, once the dust settled.
Yeah.
That must have catapulted not only yourself, but also the restaurant onto another level altogether, surely.
So this is where it comes now, where we called it the Michelin effect. Because now you're in a spotlight in the UAE, but now you're also in the world center spotlight of people who come to this country, very wealthy people, but they only eat in Michelin restaurants.
Yes.
So when they come to Abu Dhabi, there's only 3 choices. It's us, Hakkasan, and Talia. Right? So you get reviewed on that level, you know. And if you mess up a little thing, they would call me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is not. I don't think this is beautiful. You know, you could have done better. Yeah, I think I eat in this restaurant and this restaurant and this restaurant, and then you also get, like, we had the Japanese minister of foreign affairs. We had the current diplomat here. We had some delegates, and they were sitting in a private dining room. We served them, obviously with the full respect and
Yes.
greetings,
Of course.
and the whole business card transaction deals, and she told me this tastes like home. And that was, I ran to the kitchen and I said, boys, I want you to understand what I've just heard and what we are doing. Because it kind of, you know, it's important for your kitchen to understand where you are, what it is, and what is Michelin. Right? Because most of them have no idea. Right?
Yeah.
And once they understand that seriousness, you can see the level in the kitchen go up, and how they approach things differently, and how they feel more like, chef, I've got this idea. Chef, come, let's try this. You know, like there was a definite level of seriousness that came, because we say, okay, yes, it's cool that you've won one star, but now you have to keep 1 star. And that's the more challenging part, I believe, right?
100%.
Yeah.
But then I also want to know, you must have had many visits, not just from, you know, these ministers and
Yes.
royal family
Yes.
and things like this, but you also must have had visits from different chefs. you
Oh
know,
yeah,
and
the best.
that's the
best,
thing, right? It's
yes,
scary.
Yes, the best one was the chefs from Davitorio, 3-star Michelin, Italian chef. He was in Cafe Milano the day before he came to our restaurant. I served them the dishes. They gave us a standing ovation in the restaurant.
Wow.
You know, things like that.
That hits harder almost,
Yes.
you know, because
Yeah.
it's a chef at that level.
Yes, exactly. You know, and then there's other chefs that come and then they say, "Oh no, this is not on that. This is not on the level that they think it should be." You know, but then it's most probably that they come from either Nikkei or that other kind of Japanese restaurant. You know, and they throw you on par with them rather than enjoying the experience. You know, which we kind of are guilty of as well, right? I mean, you say when you go to a restaurant, oh no, it's all chill, but you still check, they got this on the menu, yeah, that kind of thing. So, but then, like I say, you have the 3-star Michelin chef who comes to you, shakes your hand, gives you a hug, and say, whenever you're in Italy, give me a call.
Yeah.
Which would never happen, never in a million years would have happened. You know, yeah.
But then, Thinus, if we fast forward to now, you know, you've retained the star.
Yes.
You know, which is incredible, and it's not an
Yeah.
easy feat. You know, you go below 50. All of these things happened.
Yes.
But you're now culinary director,
Yeah.
which is a monstrous responsibility.
Yes.
But that's for the brand.
Yeah, and this year is a incredibly big year for 99, because we also come up with a different concept called Co by 99, which was just opened in Bernabeu Stadium in Real Madrid. You know, massive project, awesome food. You know, and now you have to think, it's not only 99's identity. You have to create Co's identity without losing the family link, but to create it, to make it its own. You know, so people can't say, oh, they're just copying from that restaurant and putting it there.
Sure, but you also have pop-ups all
Yes.
over the world.
Yeah, so I mean, the first pop-up we did was at Casa Sarap,
Right.
right? Because
Back home.
yes, exactly. I say, welcome home, family. You know, yes, and then also we just opened Monaco as well. Big location, massive. It's the Formula One right now, right? Which is crazy to think where we are. In Maratera, you know. There's also, we are working on another project in London, in Mayfair.
Whoa.
Yeah, so this year is a extremely big year for 99. And when Jaime called me and said, "Listen, do you want to take on the reins for the director position?" I said him yes immediately, because I've got that hunger to do. I've given 3 years back to back of Michelin-star. Now I kind of feel let's see what we can do more, So yeah.
But incredibly exciting for you.
Yes.
Also because if I think about it and break it down from where you've come from.
Yeah.
In that kitchen where people are smashing each other with ovens to now holding several Michelin stars, it's that's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
And we're talking about world-class gastronomy.
Yes.
And heading internationally.
Yes.
And the stadium is also, I mean, that you're talking
it's beautiful. Yeah.
Elite level.
That's it. That's where the cream of the crop, and obviously 99 is a stalwart in Madrid, right? I mean, right next to Diverso is our 99 Euro building.
Right.
They're right next to each other. And just down the street is Bernabeu Stadium, right? So the fact that we even opened there is insane to think of. And the restaurant, you are literally looking down on the stadium, It feels unreal when we were there. And the direction that we've taken there and the design of the restaurant is completely different to what a 99 looks like, right? And yeah, it's exciting to see what's coming next for Co, because we call it Co by 99, which is actually we took the name as a homage to the first Michelin-star restaurant at 99 that opened in 2015, and then during COVID it closed because it was like a omakase style 40-seater,
right? That
kind of Spanish, because I mean Spain has a lot of Michelin per capita, right?
100%.
A massive, right? So there was kind of like a little homage to Co, and then we decided to bring it back alive, or Jaime did.
And how involved are you in that menu?
Quite a bit. We flew there, so this is also for me, a humble little South African boy. Now is flying to Madrid, to Monaco, to open restaurants, to install dishes, to install implementation of standards. So we, together with Jaime, together with Noam, the executive chef, and together with the Spanish owners, we've created something really special where we've brought their influence of the Spanish, Japanese that they think, and our idea of what we think Co should be. A little bit more robata style, a little bit more cooked, that kind of dishes.
So I wonder if Jaime has conversations with the owners now and says, "You see, it was worth taking this."
yeah, I wonder. Yeah, I mean, it was. They kind of trusted me after the first Fact Award,
right?
We got, and they were there, and then I kind of, if I remember, also they came a week after we got the first Michelin, and he kind of grabbed my face like mafia, say, "We're not gonna lose this, right?" So I said, "No, I don't have any plan," So yeah, and it's been interesting working with them and getting to know how the Spanish culture supports each other, because it's a massive. I mean, you're speaking about the Spanish Business Council and what they do. It's a massive network, eh?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you've ever been to the Spanish Day at the Emirates Palace, you'll see these guys network, and in all kind of fields, that they are, and the support that they've given 99, and even Co now, we've seen people who live here will fly there just to try Co, so, and vice versa. If we open another restaurant in Spain, some of the regulars from here, the Spanish regulars, they will fly to Monaco, go there, and say, "Oh, that prawn tempura, maybe, I like that one more. Maybe Abu Dhabi is still the one that I like,
But how amazing to have such a loyal customer base.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I must say that's we are very thankful for that, because it makes, I think that's as a restaurant you have to take care of those clientele, and they family by now, for 100%.
But Thinus, also, what do you want to see, or what are your predictions with the future of dining in this region? Because you've seen it grow,
yes,
from where it was to where it is now.
Yes.
What do you feel is going to happen?
I feel like Dubai is getting a little bit oversaturated now, you know, especially in Japanese cuisine, you know, because now you get Japanese Mexican, Japanese Peruvian.
Yes,
you know, they're just popping. I can't wait for the Japanese Arabic restaurant to open, because I don't think there is one, right? Yet, right? So it'll be interesting to see. I think Abu Dhabi has waited long enough and let Dubai take the shine for a while, and now it's my time now. And I'll be careful to see what happens with Abu Dhabi. I mean, if you look at the restaurants that are coming and the pedigree of restaurants that are coming to Abu Dhabi within the next 2 years, it's insane.
Yeah.
So, which is, for us, I mean, some people would look at it and go as a negative, because maybe they're stealing the client. We see it as, okay, let's take up the challenge. Let's see where the level can go and where we can take it to, you know.
100%.
Yeah. So it's interesting, especially in Abu Dhabi, you know, and like we said, with the Gourmet, with Michelin, with the 50 Best, which is kind of the 3 big ones, you know, in the world. And to see where it's going, because I think it was a very clever move. And now you see Qatar getting involved, Saudi Arabia getting involved.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's
a lot going on.
It's exciting. It's very exciting, and I mean, somebody asked me. I said the other day I'm going home, and they said, "Oh, you were going to South Africa?" I said, "No, I'm going to UAE, to Abu Dhabi." You know, so we're not going anywhere. Yeah.
So Thinus, now we've come to the quick fire questions
Sure.
for you. So first things first, what's your favorite ingredient?
I'll have to. It's difficult. I'll get to you. Favorite ingredient? Definitely, because it's such a base in everything that I use, soy sauce.
Okay, done.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Paella or braai?
Oh, Brian, 100%. There's no comparison even, you know. They can call their burnt rice sukarat anything they want. I'll take them on any day, every day.
Boerewurst sausage or Wagyu katsu sando?
Oh, you make it tough for me, man. I'll take boerewors. Yeah.
It was close though.
Homemade boerewors. Nothing can beat it, man.
100%.
Yeah.
Spicy or pickled?
Pickled.
So, from all of your years in the kitchen,
Yes.
can you tell me the funniest either kitchen story or restaurant incident
Yes.
that you've seen or been involved in? There's been a lot, but what's the one that sticks to your mind the most?
I mean, the one where we tried to catch each other in the kitchen with all sorts of signs and things, you know, that was definitely up there. And then I was thinking, every kitchen has a little play thing that it has to happen. We used to, and this is gonna sound incredibly sadistic, right? But we used to warm pans in the one kitchen in South Africa as like a little initiation for new staff, or like just as games,
right?
Know? So you'll stand there, warm a pan on the gas fire, and as soon as somebody opens the door, you'll just give them a little love tap, you know? And all of us had little
tattoos.
Yeah, all of us had little tattoo stripes on the And if people would look at it from the outside, they go, "Oh, these guys are completely this madness." You know, why would you do something like that?
But it was almost like brotherly love in a way.
100%. There's that, in Lord of War, I think it's Lord of War, where it says Bratia Pauruju, which means like brothers in arms. You know, and I use that word a lot because that reminds me a lot of the kitchen.
But it is like that though, actually.
It is 100%.
So then, as of right now, what would you say are your top 3 favorite cuisines to eat?
I'll definitely say Japanese is up there. But more classical Japanese. I love the way it's presented. Argentinian for me. I love Argentinian food. And then definitely South African, classical South African is right up there.
Yeah.
And a mate of mine is actually, I mean, if I can give a shameless plug, in Abu Dhabi, it's called Baloo's. And he used to be the director of Barasti back in the day when it was still big Barasti. So now he's opened Baloo's, and it's a full South African menu. and I've helped him a bit. But the desserts are like from his mother's mother,
Wow.
and the recipes like that. So it's really like a little home away from home, and I'm trying to push it a lot for other South Africans to go there, and they'll see that he's even got like a braai package where he'll give you meat and wood, and he's got a braai there.
How cool is that?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So South African is definitely, I mean, I hate to put it third, but yeah, I think at the moment my most favorite is Japanese.
Okay.
And then definitely Argentinian. And then, yeah, South African is always close to heart.
Done deal. Now, who would you say are your top 3 food heroes, but they don't necessarily need to be chefs?
Okay. One thing that's been very influential, and I've got very comparisons to my life and how I grew up within the kitchen to his, is Anthony Bourdain. I have a thing where when I see a chef in the kitchen has something within him and he's moving to another place, I'll buy him the Kitchen Confidential book and give to him with a little note inside, because it did for me a lot, that book, so definitely that very big influence. And then the first chef that I worked with, Stefan, the owner of the little Great Brack restaurant, and my dad, 100%. Just the love for cooking you had. You didn't want to be a chef, but there was one stage where you had to be, without it the family would not eat,
right? Of course.
So, and he did what he did. And then after 3 years, he opened his own company and went further with vibration monitoring and that kind of thing. But he taught me a lot, just for love of cooking, not necessarily technique or finer things, but just, love ingredients, love cooking, bring the family together, bring friends together, and
What advice would you give to 16-year-old Thinus?
Give it time, Don't try to be the next great chef de cuisine. Give it time. Learn from other chefs. Learn from mentors. Read, eat, taste, everything. If you don't like tribe, how are you gonna know? Try it. If you don't like it, okay, cool. But at least you tried it. And just patience. It will come. You have to put in your hours. It's like I like to say, it's like a pilot when he gets to A380. He doesn't just go straight there, right? He has to build these miles to get there, and it's the same thing for a chef. You have to put in the miles. Yeah.
Now, if people wanted to get hold of you, through social media, what are the best means?
So mostly Instagram, chef_Thinus. That's my professional page. They can just contact me through there, and then obviously Thinus van der Westhuizen is on Facebook and on LinkedIn as well.
Okay. Thinus, I have to say, it's been a long time coming, this show.
100%. 100%.
I didn't know how vast your knowledge was and where you've come from with such humble background to where you are today.
Yes.
I think, and of course going through something like brain cancer stage 3 and still to come out the other side. And if you really think about it, the success that you have and are having and will continue to have is something that I personally really admire.
Thanks, man.
And obviously all of the knowledge that you've gained and all of the things that you're accomplishing is incredible. So it's honestly, it's really incredible.
I'd like to add also, because for anybody who's listening as well, like, you never know what kind of impact you have on other people. Like, I was doing a radio interview in South Africa, and a farmer, he messaged me on Facebook saying, I was very miserable this morning. I was listening to you speaking on the radio, and I have new hope for my farm and for my family and my cattle. And he's very far removed from chefing and the chef world, and he just says, you've instilled new inspiration. So whoever, you need to know, you never know who you can influence and who's out there and who's listening and who you might change. So
100%.
Yeah, man.
Well, look, Thinus, on behalf of the Chef JKP podcast,
sweet, man,
thank you so much for coming on. I wish you nothing but even more success. All right.
Thanks, man.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, dude.
What a conversation. I told you, He is full of life, extremely charismatic, and really pushes himself. I also admire his tenacity. His stance on so many things are just incredible and a total legend. Chef, thank you so much for taking us on your journey through your world and sharing your vision. Now, if you want to see more of what Chef Thinus is doing, head over to the show notes as you will find absolutely everything about him. And by the way, we've had to do a little bit of stalking, of course. Now, that wraps up our conversation. To everyone listening, if this episode made you stop and think, that is exactly what great conversations do. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to follow, share, and subscribe to the Chef JKP podcast. Perhaps someone would find this conversation or episode extremely interesting, informative, or even inspiring. So do please share it across, as it means the absolute world to us and we can reach as many people as possible. You can also support the show by picking up one of our fantastic Chef JKP bottles, which not only keeps your drinks hot, cold, they're also quite fabulous and sexy, as you can see, and stylish. Trust me, you're going to absolutely love them. The other thing I want to say is thank you so much for staying right to the very end of the show, you absolute legends. This is Chef JKP signing out. Until next time, food is memories.